The way that we break down our top 10 teams is in a certain poll that we title the Nothing But Ball poll. Nothing But Ball top 10. And the reason why we call it that is because that's the only filter we're using to assess this top 10. It's not a thing where we're looking super closely at these different analytics and we're not looking at like time of, leading in different contests. Like we're watching college football just like y'all, okay? So Saturday morning, we're up, we're watching game day, big noon, whatever, all the way through Pac-12 after dark. Get you a little bit of caffeine, get dialed in, 10:30 Eastern kick, let's roll. That's how we consume college football, because that's how you consume college football, and the people with other polls out there, I don't know that they necessarily do it that way. But with that being said, here's our top 10. At number 10, we got Oregon State. And Oregon State, they feel a lot like Utah to me by nature of the brand of football they play. Only 2 losses on their resume right now. They're still in the Pac-12 title conversation. Very big game for them this weekend against Washington in Corvallis. Not much more to say about them. They will be much higher on this list if they beat Washington this upcoming weekend. But the way that they are just so rock solid in their identity under Jonathan Smith, they're dangerous every single week. And you love to see the way that they're operating in Corvallis right now. Again, number 10 right now in the Nothing But Ball poll. At number 9, you got Louisville. Louisville, man, they're tough on the line of scrimmage. They're allowing 3 yards a carry. And don't look now, but their resume is also pretty solid. Top 10 win over Notre Dame. Top 20 win over Duke. They could crash that college football playoff party. You know it because you watch ball. A lot of people on the outside, though, I don't know if they understand how close Louisville is to breaking into that top 4. It would obviously require an ACC title win over a team like Florida State, but we'll see. Keep an eye on Louisville. They're number 9 this week in our top 10 in the Nothing But Ball poll. At number 8, you got Texas. And I'm concerned about Texas because they've sort of tread water to this point in the year, especially without Quinn Ewers. My question is now, can they get back on shore with Quinn Ewers back in the lineup? They were up big over Houston before he got hurt. Let him back into the game. They were up on Kansas State with Malik Murphy playing quarterback. Let him back into the game. Up on TCU. Let him back into the game. 3 of the last 4 wins for Texas have been decided by 1 score. I want to see a little bit of a kick from them. And people are going to be upset with this top 10 because we don't have Texas ahead of Alabama. We'll talk about Bama here in a second. Say, well, JD, we beat them week 2. Yes, 100%. We were there. They were dominant. Texas absolutely still could be a college football playoff team if they win the Big 12. But they haven't played like that team that beat Alabama in a minute. So I'm curious to see what they do the rest of the way. We're dropping them based on the eye test. But make no mistake about it, Texas absolutely is a team that should feel pretty good about their chances to make the college football playoff if they win out. Now, like I said, we got Alabama at number 7. College football let the wrong team get hot. There's no other way to say it. They let the wrong roster, the wrong head coach, the wrong quarterback find their rhythm in November. If you want to blame anybody, I think you blame Ole Miss. No shade on Ole Miss. I'm just saying they had them. Had them in a spot where Bama was down, and if you took the life out of them then, they would have been a 2-loss team, not even have to worry about the college football playoff conversation. But Bama, man, the thing with them, yes, they're hot. Yes, they're scary. There is nothing about Alabama that is them playing above their level. Like, Alabama's not a team that's just kind of caught fire and got a little bit of magic, and they're playing at a level they're not supposed to play at. Like, Alabama actually is getting better. They have more in the tank, I believe, and they're playing at the level of their roster right now. The definitive nature of Jalen Milroe, the way that he's running that offense where he's getting downhill running the football, the way that he's putting defenses in conflict and they're worried about him running the football now and he can throw the ball downfield. Like, everything about Alabama is actually working how it's supposed to the level of that roster. So nothing fluky about Bama, nothing that's crazy about Alabama catching their stride. Like, they're actually just catching their stride because they're that good. They're number 7 for us right now in the Nothing But Ball poll. Now at number 6, we got the Oregon Ducks. And Oregon, I wholeheartedly believe, is a top 4 caliber team. The issue with them not being in the top 4 is they're blocked a little bit by where Washington's at right now. So they got that ticket. They're waiting to get punched to be a top 4 team, but they probably have to wait till the Pac-12 title game to get that ticket punched. But as of right now, Oregon, sitting at number 6, handle business. If you win out and you beat Washington in the Pac-12 title game, which we all expect to get that matchup, I think you feel pretty good about finding your way to that top 4. At number 5, you got Washington. The thing with Washington, man, they just have an elite right hook. And what I mean by that is when they have their haymaker going, and their haymaker is Michael Penix Jr., dealing the pill like a shady pharmacist to any of their outside weapons, Rome Odunze, Jalen Polk, if they have their guys rolling, and it's connecting, like game over. Game over. It doesn't matter what you're doing offensively. If you've scored 40 plus, they'll score 50 plus. That's kind of the nature of what they've been to this point. Ask USC, ask Oregon. Now, Washington, not to say they don't have any weaknesses, but when they're on and when they're connecting, they're tricky to stop. So also the way that they're running the ball lately too is something to watch for. But Washington at number 5 this week for me, I would not be surprised at all if the College Football Playoff Committee tonight says, you know what? Washington, that win over Utah, that says something. It's a resume boost. Put them at 4. No argument here. For us, they're number 5. At number 4, I got Florida State. And Florida State, to me, is more drill than bulldozer. Because you look at Florida State and the resume, and they looked good, obviously, early in the year. They beat the top 5 LSU team, and I don't think that win is aging poorly by any means. Beat a ranked Duke team. They beat Clemson. But the thing with Florida State is you watch them play, and you're like, man, I'd love to see a little bit more of a blowout from them. I'd love to see more dominance from Florida State when they play Miami. I'd love to see more dominance from Florida State when they play Pitt. I think that's fair. I would have the same argument, actually, about Florida State if you were to try and keep them out of that top 5. But the thing with Florida State is the eye test will only matter if they let it matter. Because that number to the left of their rank, of their logo, the ranking that is, it's not going to matter if they got a 0 in the loss column. So Florida State, they're content to just be that drill that just chips away at you, chips away at you, chips away at you. Eventually they strike oil, they win the football game in Mike Norvell, gritty fashion from this Noles team. They're rolling right now too. I think they will be undefeated. I think they will be in the ACC title game. And I expect them, we know they're going to be in the ACC title game, but I think they will be a team that has a chance to just win and be in the college football playoff. So we'll see what happens. For me, the number 4 right now, I'm not overly concerned about the way that it looks. Just the fact they're getting it done and the matchups they have on the outside and the way Jordan Travis is playing, I think Florida State is a top 4 team in the country. At number 3, this is where we differ a fair amount from the College Football Playoff Committee. We got Ohio State. And for Ohio State, like, they just have the infinity stone of offensive weapons with Marvin Harrison Jr. Line of scrimmage is much better. They're much better on defense. They have a top 5 unit there. But the way that they will win these big-time matchups, the Michigan game, whenever they play in the college football playoff, should they get there, it will come down to number 18 and the way that he impacts the game. And credit Ryan Day and Brian Hartline because he will impact the game to the nth degree by nature of the offensive game plan they're rolling with now. I mean, you watched them play this past weekend against Michigan State. It was get the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr., get it to him on a reverse, get it to him on a screen. When he's rolling, it's unstoppable. When the hands are even in the deck, he is the ace. Ohio State at number 3. We have them at 3 because of the eye test. But even so, I think they have every opportunity, and we know they have every opportunity to be a college football playoff team if they beat Michigan that last game of the year. And if they do, it'll be a big credit. It'll be a big reasoning because of 18. Now at number 2, we got Michigan. I mean, they are the big kid on the playground that you play pickup with. They're just going to body you in the post, and there's nothing you can do about it. They are the best big people team in the country. They proved it last weekend against Penn State. Expect them to keep proving it this weekend against Maryland. Tricky spot because Maryland can score points. I still think they have more, which is scary. They're at number 2 because of the eye test. Could potentially get a boost tonight by nature of that, resume boosting win over Penn State. But even so, like, Michigan is who they are. Comes down to that game against Ohio State. They're the best big people team in the country, to put it simply. Now, at number 1, we got Georgia. There's a scary scenario right now for the rest of college football. We have reached the worst case if you're preying on Georgia's downfall. Because Georgia's now in a situation where the offense kept trending in the right direction without 19. And now you add 19 back into that formula, and it's scary. Because Dominic Lovett has elevated. The run game, I think, has elevated. Carson Beck has elevated. And now you add back in your best player. I said it on one of our Sunday videos. Like, when it comes to what Georgia was without Brock Bowers, it was like whenever you broke your arm in grade school and you had to dribble with your offhand. Georgia's now gotten really good with their offhand. And so they're ambidextrous as an offense. They're scary. They're the best team in the country. Weaknesses for them from week to week, you don't see the same weaknesses for Georgia week in and week out. They do a really good job of remedying those. And again, I think right now, based on eye test, based on resume, they are the best team in the country. So to recap it for you, the Nothing But Ball top 10 has Oregon State at 10. We got Louisville at 9, Texas at 8, Alabama at 7, Oregon at 6, Washington at 5. I got Florida State, Ohio State, Michigan and then Georgia at number 1. I would not be surprised, just so we're all on the same page here, I would not be surprised if Washington was at 4 for the committee. I would not be surprised if they put Michigan at 1, Georgia at 1, or Ohio State at 1. Could have a lot of variance this weekend, but that's why they play the games. That's why we have these Tuesday nights where we watch what the committee does, and it'll be a real good time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.